Hi, just want to introduce today the new Timken spherical roller bearing solid house unit. This unit is quite a unique invention that's come into the market over the last few years. It's solid steel housing, so it means it won't fracture and break unlike traditional cast iron housings. Also, it has machine feet. So this means once you set it up originally, you get some keeper plates, you have one-time alignment. Next time you need to replace the bearing, undo the bolts, remove it, drop it in, away you go. Another neat feature about this product is it has an extended black nitrile inner. So as you can see here, the traditional spherical, but you actually see here the extended inner ring. This means that the primary seals can actually sit and house directly onto the inner ring, not the shaft. One of the common problems that you have is that contamination gets in through a worn shaft where the primary seals have been running on that over a period of time. So this overcomes that problem. There are three different types of seal, primary seal. The first one here is a Teflon, either a high-speed one because it actually rotates with the shaft, but because it's actually a shrink fit onto the shaft, it means it's great in wet and moist conditions. There's also a urethane and a nitrile that are purging seals, but again, it's a triple lip that will operate fantastically, and it's great for keeping small particles, so in real harsh contaminated environments such as cement dust, it's a perfect seal. There's also secondary seals, either steel or polymer. There's also open and closed, and again, this one here, the open one, will rotate with the shaft. There's also the ability to actually fill these with lubrication, so where you have the non-purging seal, you can fill the void with grease. That means you've actually got a secondary barrier to prevent any contamination getting into the product. One of the other really neat features on this product is that compared to a traditional SM block where you have to have fixing, locating rings and different inventories in effect for fixed and floating bearings, for this you only need one inventory. This bearing is capable of operating in a fixed or float position. To do that, you back off these grub screws. You have a locating nut here, you rotate that through 180 degrees, you've got approximately 1 mil of float, 360, 2 mil of float. Lock it back down and away you go. It's as simple as that. So this means mounting time is considerably reduced. One of the other key issues that you find with the traditional SM blocks, to keep contamination out, they're constantly being pumped with grease. This grease often then purges out. Not only have you got the cost of re-lubricating and greasing this bearing housing, but you've also got the considerable environmental issue. That grease will cost you 10 times as much just to remove it environmentally. So if you've got the purging seal, what we have is two options here. Any excess grease is retained in the covers, or if it's the non-purging, the Teflon high-speed seal, if you grease it, any excess grease is released out through this purging valve. It means you cannot over-grease, which is also a common issue and cause of bearing failure. There's 6 different mounting options. I'd just like to talk about this one here. This is the patented double V-lock. The great thing about this is it's preset. You cannot over-tighten this mounting mechanism. If I back this off here, you see it's in 2 halves. In effect, this is mounted inside the bearing, not this size obviously. But the great thing is, quite often when you're mounting a bearing, they get over-tightened onto the shaft, reducing internal clearance, again causing premature bearing failure. With this, anybody can set up a bearing in minutes. Literally locate it inside the housing, bring it together, and as you tighten it down, you see the 2 wedges come in, which mean they actually form a perfect V, which means ultimately you cannot over-tighten it any more than that, and you have a perfectly set bearing every time. So, whatever your bearing needs and challenges, Rubix has the products, services and expertise to maximise your bearing life and increase your production efficiency.